At the beginning of the story, we see three siblings named Ron, Henna, and Ronnie. They were sharing their haunting experiences with someone. According to them, they were returning home late the previous week after leaving their parents' house. On the way back, Ron needed to pee, so he had to get out of the car midway. However, right in front of where he was peeing, there was a doll placed on a tree. Since that night, strange incidents started happening to them. That night, someone knocked on their main door at midnight. When Henna opened the door to check, no one was there. But a doll was lying in front of the door. Ronnie thought someone might have given it to them as a gift, so she took the doll and went to sleep with it. The next morning, when she woke up, she saw that the doll was not beside her, but sitting on the dining table instead. She thought it was probably Ron's prank. When Ronnie brought the doll back to her bedroom and blinked her eyes, the doll was gone. Instead, there was a note saying, "Let's play hide and seek, and you have to find me." When Ronnie showed this to Henna, they suddenly heard a noise. When they went to the bathroom, they saw the doll placed there with a message behind it saying, "You found me." Angry at this incident, they called Ron, who was shocked and said, "Hey, I saw this doll on that tree. How did it get into our house?" Finding the whole situation creepy, they threw the doll in the dustbin. But that night, someone knocked on their main door again. When they went outside, they found another note saying, "Let's play hide and seek." They were confused and trying to figure out what was happening when they heard Ron scream loudly. They rushed to his room and saw Ron was severely injured, as if someone had cut his leg with sharp nails or a knife. But there was no one there except the doll, which had a message behind it saying, "You found me again." They were narrating this entire incident to two paranormal investigators named Loris and Deddy. After this, we are introduced to a man named Daniel who was returning home after work. Exhausted from the day's work, he felt sleepy and started dreaming about his childhood. When he was young, his mother left him and his father due to financial hardship. His father died in grief. His childhood was so traumatic that the memories still haunted him like nightmares. When Daniel returns home, we see his wife, Ina. Ina sewed dolls to support their poor household. They had been living in a rented house, but Daniel brought good news that he got a promotion. Now they could buy a new house, and his company also provided him with a car for commuting. It seemed like a dream come true for Ina, but Daniel made that dream a reality. Ina beautifully arranged her dolls on the wall of their room as they started organizing their dream house. Daniel was actually an engineer at a construction site. When he reached his workplace, he saw a big tree that needed to be cut down to clear the working space. But strangely, no one was willing to cut the tree because there was a doll on it that no one dared to move. When Daniel asked the workers about the doll, they explained that a family once lived in the house nearby who were brutally murdered. They had a 5-year-old daughter, and the doll belonged to her. After their deaths, strange occurrences began, and the doll was hung on the tree, making it the child's home. That's why no one wanted to cut down the tree. But Daniel didn't believe in any of this and cut the tree down himself. When he returned home that night, he noticed the doll was in the back of his car. He couldn't figure out how it got there or who put it there. When Daniel wanted to throw it away, Ina kept it inside the house since she loved making dolls. That night, they heard noises and went to the kitchen, where they found 2 glass cups broken on the floor. They thought it was the work of mice. The next day, Ina met their neighbor Nikan and her daughter Ela, and told them about the incidents from the previous night. Since Nikan believed in such things, she checked the house and immediately noticed the doll. After learning about the doll's history, she told Ina to throw it out immediately, as it was an evil doll. Just then, Ela came and asked them for the doll, saying, "My friend wants to play with this doll. Give it to me." The strange part was, who was her friend? Why couldn't anyone see her? Nevertheless, Nikan took her daughter and left. That night, the doorbell rang, and when Ina went to check, no one was there. Instead, there was a note saying, "Let's play hide and seek." Ina thought it was Ela's prank. The next morning after Daniel went to work, someone knocked on the door again, leaving the same note behind. When Ina called Ela to ask, she replied, "I didn't do it. It was my friend." That evening, Ina was alone at home since Daniel was coming home late. The doorbell rang again. When she opened the door, she saw a little girl standing there. Ina kindly brought her inside and gave her some food. During their conversation, Ina learned that the girl's name was Ushi. When Ina informed Nikan about this over the phone, Nikan asked, "So, you still haven't thrown away that doll, have you?" Just then, there was a sudden power outage, and in the darkness, the little girl was nowhere to be seen. Ina heard some noises from upstairs. When she went there, she saw no one around. Even the doll was lying face down on the floor. As she picked up the doll, the door suddenly slammed shut. Behind her was the spirit of the little girl. In the blink of an eye, the girl attacked her, but just then, Nikin arrived and saved her. To protect their family, Nikin took the doll and went to the tree where they planned to get rid of it. But they were disappointed to find that the tree had already been cut down. With no other option, they called a priest who followed all the rituals to bury the doll properly. Back at home, Ina thought everything was finally over, but then she received a call from Nikin, who informed her that Ila was missing. However, Ina suddenly realized that Ila was actually at her house. When she went to get her, she found herself standing in front of a cupboard. At that moment, Nikin called again and said that Ila was at his house. Apparently, Ila was hiding under the bed. But the question was, if Ila was at Nikin's house, then who did Ina see? Nervously, Ina opened the cupboard and found the doll inside. At that very moment, she saw the spirit of the little girl sitting on top of the cupboard. Before she could react, the spirit attacked her. Daniel arrived just in time to save Ina, but she was severely injured. Even though they survived the night, the spirit continued to haunt them. To escape this nightmare, they reached out to Laris through Nikin. After hearing the whole story about the doll, Laris agreed to help because she had encountered the same doll before. During that encounter, her husband, Dedi, had died due to an unfortunate incident. Now, Laris lived alone with her daughter. Laris prepared herself and went to Ina's house. They sat around the doll and tried to contact the spirit through a ritual, but it didn't work. Laris explained that the spirit had become much stronger than before, making it difficult to control. The spirit was even trying to possess Anna to kill Daniel. Laris performed another ritual to protect their family from the child's spirit, but it failed. The spirit then possessed Nikin and killed her. Laris was devastated and didn't know how to stop this. Just then, she received a call from her housekeeper who said that her daughter was behaving strangely, as if she was possessed. She rushed home only to find that her daughter was completely fine. Realizing that this was just a trick, she hurried back to Ina's house. Meanwhile, a swarm of bats entered Ina's house. She managed to lock herself in a room while Daniel was trapped outside. The child spirit then attacked Ina and possessed her. When Daniel entered the room to save her, Ina tore the flesh off his cheek and slowly tortured him to death. But why did she target Daniel? What was his connection to all of this? At that moment, Laris arrived and touched Ina's head, calming her down. She managed to expel the spirit from Ina, but by then, Ina had already learned the truth. The real mystery of the movie was then revealed. Daniel never wanted his wife to leave him due to financial troubles, just like his mother had abandoned him and his family. To prevent this, Daniel, along with a close friend, robbed a house. In that house lived 3 family members, a father, a mother, and their little daughter. The doll the little girl was holding made it clear who this spirit was. They secretly controlled the family and stole all their money. Their plan was to escape after the robbery, but fearing they would be caught, Daniel's friend shot and killed the entire family. During the struggle, the friend accidentally killed himself. Seizing the opportunity, Daniel took all the money and escaped. This explained how Daniel suddenly acquired wealth, cars, and property. Not through a promotion, but through that robbery. The little girl's spirit sought revenge on Daniel for this reason. Laris explained that if Daniel confessed all his crimes to the police, he might be spared from death. But that didn't happen. The little girl's spirit possessed Daniel and made him jump to his death. But her revenge didn't end there. She took control of the entire house, taking her place in the spot where the doll was kept in Ina's room. After this terrifying ordeal, Anna left the house forever and spent the rest of her life at Laura's place. And with that, the movie ended.